Episode 36, Lost but Found. Ella is a talented singer, passionate and God-fearing. She carries a strong aura of God's presence, and I could only believe the wonderful works she will do if she writes and produces her own songs. She was always waging wars and conquering them with her pens via her social media platforms. But as I shared months back, our generation is poor readers. We don't read, and we fail in knowledge because most of the knowledge we gain comes from written words, including the Bible. Yet, we love entertainment, and presently, I feel that is the most pronounced media of evangelism now. I needed Ella to be heard, if only she could turn a few of her written words into lyrics and then into music. I reached out with the idea to her when she called to let me know she had arrived home. I was glad she was willing to try, and I was grateful that this will grant me the opportunity to really get close to her. Don't get me wrong, her growth is my topmost priority, and I desire to see her shine. Spending time with her is God's added advantage. Smile. Ella and I had grown into friends, and I know somewhere deep down there is a possibility that she likes me as much. It was the last month of the year, and I wanted to spend Christmas at Ella's hometown. Though I didn't tell her about it because of several uncertainties, as I had a concert abroad. She informed me about her journey home, but unfortunately, I had to take off before she left. There were too many things happening that season that made me put a pause on my plans to ask Ella out in a relationship before she traveled. In London, I met Aria Oloko. Yes, my Aria that I thought died 4 years back. So, this was how Aria supposedly died. Aria was involved in a plane crash 4 years ago on her scholarship trip to London for her masters at the London School of Economics and Political Sciences. According to the news, there were no survivors, and the bodies were burnt beyond recognition. Apparently, Aria was flown out of the plane before it exploded and suffered several fractures on her legs and head. I found out that her head injury fractured part of her skull, damaging the hippocampus area of the brain, leading to memory loss. She was recovered by a nearby fisherman along the coast of the plane crash several miles away, who took her in and cared for her bruises. There was no prior medical treatment as the location was a small settlement. She was later discovered by a group of evangelists who dropped by the village to spend the night while on their way home to London. This was a year later after the crash. She was taken in by this couple who adopted her and gave her a home. As fate will have it, 3 years later, this same couple hosted a concert in their graced church and invited only me from Nigeria to minister at their yearly program. After hearing the story that Aria, now Ella, her new name is Manuela, couldn't even remember, I was left dumbfounded. The first question I asked was if she was married, and no, she was not. Not only is she not married, but she is also single. My love story took a turn I wasn't expecting, and once again, confusion visited me. Aria, now Ella, didn't pursue her master's degree, but the couple discovered her fluency in speaking and realized she was educated. They decided to give her the care she needed to pick up her life. She now ministers in church and is an inspiration to many youths. When I had a chance to speak with her, I sensed her joy and contentment. She knows no other family than this couple, and as they advised, I didn't push to make her remember me. Yet, I still missed her. She wasn't my Aria anymore. child grown into this radiant God chaser. I see an upcoming pastor in her, and when her adopted father, Pastor Richard, shared his intention of leaving his lineage to Aria, now Ella, I was at peace. I was at peace because I know my station was Nigeria, and once again, this Ella wasn't God's way for me. Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Richard Josh have been barren for years and have devoted themselves to work with God and work for Him. After 30 years of marriage, they picked a 23-year-old Aria and adopted her into their home as their own. I wasn't sure if letting Aria's biological parents know that their daughter is still alive and doing well in London, or just leaving it as fate. I believe Pastor Richard must have sensed my thoughts because he asked me about Aria's biological parents.
Are they still alive?
Yes, sir, I replied.
I would love to reach out to them. They deserve to know that their daughter is still alive.
Aria's mother will be most glad. She has mourned her baby girl for a long time, and each time I get to visit, she cries on seeing me. This has actually made me visit her less. Aria has 3 younger siblings, all male. I don't know what agreement they will come to in the end, but I trust Pastor Richard to make the right decision.
Do you still have plans for my Ella?
Pastor Richard asked. This was a question I wasn't expecting, but rightly it needed to be asked. I have someone, sir, I replied.
Oh, I see. What is her name?
Emanuela, I replied confidently, not minding if my Emanuela will accept me or not.